Hello and welcome to the Real San Diego podcast, where I interview inspiring and interesting people, dive into hot topics in communities around San Diego, and more. I'm your host, Cece Summerfield, and this week I'm talking to Shane Conta with the San Diego River Park Foundation. Shane oversees the native plant garden and estuary in Ocean Beach. Have you ever really thought about the San Diego River other than just knowing it's there as you pass over the bridge on SeaWorld Drive? Shane got my attention with his knowledge and passion for the care of the San Diego River and its importance to all living things in San Diego, along with sharing some really exciting development news. And this is Cece Summerfield with Shane Conta of the San Diego River Park Foundation. Shane, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Good,
This is a great opportunity.
Great opportunity to meet you too, and just, grill you on all the things about the River Park Foundation. I'm just kidding. But anyways, let's start with a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get involved with the San Diego River Park? I'm going to say SDRPF.
I'm born and raised in San Diego. Spent a lot of time in Mission Trails. Mission Trails is kind of my spot to grow up, my playground growing up. And after I graduated high school at Patrick Henry, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And so I pursued backpacking, kind of took a summer off, spent a lot of time there, and I found myself studying sustainability. And eventually found myself at San Diego State. I transferred over from Grossmont College.
Nice.
And I did in 2020, in December 2020, with a degree in sustainability.
So you are a young guy.
Yeah.
You're like fresh out of college, basically.
I'm 28. I'm 28.
So you got some time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was undecided. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I kind of, I was unsure whether, you could either follow your passion or, to me, I think there was a big fear of not wanting ever to go back to Yosemite again. I want that itch. I want that drive to want to go back out there and be out in nature. And I think with any job, you either love it and you're able to go home and do more of it, or you go home and need to do the opposite of that.
Right.
And so that's a really big kind of factor for me. And so I wasn't really sure at first. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be outside, but as a student at San Diego State, I needed to complete an internship to graduate. And I'd heard about the San Diego River Park Foundation and doing some of their water monitoring testing. And so that's kind of one of the million things that they do there. And so I heard about that, and I found an internship, and it was part of their Clean River program. And that basically means I'm an assistant, I'm an intern for the Clean River team that picks up all of the trash along the river. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So annually, we pick up about 200,000 pounds of trash a year.
That is a lot of trash.
This morning, we picked up with 6 others and myself, we picked up 1,800 pounds of trash, a little more from Mission Valley Preserve. That comes from various places, but, really coming back to what got me to the River Park Foundation, it was an internship, and I read, it involves picking up 50 plus pounds. It's kind of down in the river. It's a place to kind of explore. And I thought that, I will either love field work or I want a desk job at the end of this. And I used it as a learning experience. And so I applied to the River Park Foundation, and day one, hour one, minute one, I was
You knew
hooked.
you were supposed to be.
I knew I was supposed to be there. And it's the volunteers, it's the staff, it's what we're doing that's really brings it all together and makes it so worthwhile.
Oh, I can only imagine. I imagine getting that job right as COVID was happening, when we're all being locked down, must be nice to be able to be outside.
Exactly. And I graduated in December of 2020, and there was really no job market. So I left the country. I was gone for 6 months.
Really?
My girlfriend at the time was getting her master's degree at Cambridge in England. And so the day after my internship ended and the day after my last final, I went to England for 6 months. And the week that I was coming back to San Diego after she'd completed her master's degree, there was an opening with the River Park Foundation, and I jumped on it, and I was lucky enough to get hired.
The stars aligned for you.
It really did.
Seriously.
And it's, you can see the smile on my face. It's been a blast. I love what I do, every waking second of it. I really do.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up in San Diego? Were you local here?
Del Cerro.
Oh, in Del Cerro. Stayed in Del Cerro. Okay.
Yeah, and to me, it's all San Diego's local. Even up in Alpine, that's still relatively local. I like to think San Diego is like a big, small city.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
I bump into people driving on the highway every once in a while. I'm like, I know that car. And, hey, good to see you.
Hi, there you are.
Yeah, so, and that kind of really helps what we do as well, because, the river, it goes through the city of San Diego, the city of Santee, up to the Headwaters, and where it really starts up in Julian.
Yes, yeah.
It's really a lot of opportunity to kind of engage people with their local environment.
Yes, for sure. And here, us in OB, we have the, where it goes into the ocean, obviously, Dog Beach.
Yeah, exactly. You have the estuary and the river mouth, which I spend a lot of time. I'm lucky enough to kind of call that my office a lot of the time.
Yeah,
so it's a great place to be.
Not a bad place to be. So, what are the foundation's goals right now and in the future? Like, is there anything special you're working on, like this year in particular, now that we're back out and kind of being more community oriented?
Yeah, exactly. Being back out, it's things are different kind of as we kind of come out of COVID, and are still dealing with COVID entirely. And so we've all kind of realized, and every organization I've talked to, it hasn't just been an on-off switch of getting the events going again and having people show up. And so we're just right now, we're trying to just engage the community and get as many people to hear about us and work with us. And whether you volunteered with us before or you've never heard of us, we're trying to connect with everybody.
I'll be honest. I hadn't heard about you until your CEO, I guess you call. Right, Rob?
Yeah, Rob,
He came and talked at one of our realtor meetings, as I was telling you earlier. And it was just so interesting to me. I never even, like you said, like most people don't ever think about the river. They drive over it, they do whatever, and they know it's there, but it's never really something that they're conscious of. So it really brought it to the forefront of my mind, listening to him talk so passionately about it too.
Exactly. So, and he also is born and raised in San Diego. So he's from Point Loma.
He's super local. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And so like myself, I believe him and I are the only two currently on our very small team at the River Park Foundation that are from San Diego. But that's what's even more amazing is getting people from all over engaged and connected.
Yeah. And people move here from all over the place. I mean, it's not very often. It's maybe a handful of people I know that are actually born and raised here. So out of all the people I meet, a lot of people from the East Coast migrate over this way. Arizona, if they're lucky enough to get up here, they prefer to live in San Diego. So it's kind of fun to meet some people that have been here their whole lives and can tell you the history of where they've been and where they're going. So when did the San Diego River Park Foundation start? Like, when did he start this? It was a grassroots effort, or?
Yeah, more or less. So about 20 years ago, there was like an environmental incident along the river, and it kind of went unnoticed, more or less.
Okay.
And, a few people did notice, a few concerned community members.
Yeah.
And they banded together to want to make a difference. And, 20 years later, like I said, we pick up 200,000 pounds of trash. We do homeless outreach. We do water monitoring. We've got internships. We do everything. So
how big a paid staff do you have versus the amount of volunteers that you have to get?
I believe curious. Right now we've got about 15.
Okay, so it's a small staff.
It's incredibly small. And it's amazing what we do with
15.
We're a membership-based nonprofit organization, so we rely heavily on donors and donations and gifts and grants and things like that to kind of make these projects happen. And it's amazing what we can make happen. I mean, I can, as small as just a cleanup, I've gone into a small creek bed and cleaned it up, and we've gotten there and there's been car batteries and shopping carts and all sorts of non-desirable things down there. And, exactly. And by the time we leave 3 hours later, it's flowing again. It's empty and flowing. And so, just being able to make such an impact is really what we're here about. We're a small staff of 15 people, but one of the coolest things about us is that it's our volunteers. So I've got on speed dial, I've got someone that is a specialist on butterflies, on some of the rarest birds in the estuary, on, all the native plants along the river. We've got some incredible volunteers that help make it all happen. The staff we kind of help formulate it and plan it, but it's all the effort from the volunteers and the interns that kind of really make it all happen. For sure. I mean, we have some amazing community all over San Diego. And it's so apparent to me. I didn't grow up here myself. So it's always amazing to me how much people want to be involved in their community. I grew up in a rural part of Northern California. So yes, there is a great small community there, but it's different because it feels like like you said, it feels like a smaller town. I mean, smaller city when it's a big city. But I never thought moving to the city, coming from a very rural area, that it would feel so much like a small town. And people care about each other and really care about the environment, really big on the environment. Exactly.
Like, they really care about the environment, which is so important. I mean, we live in an area where you can be outside most of the year too. So the more cleaner environment is, the nicer it is to hang out in, right? So you work specifically with the estuary. I mean, you're overseeing the estuary part of your organization. And tell me a little bit about how many species are there? If you can tell me What's going on there? You said native plant life. Like, what are we looking at? Plants, animals, fish?
Well, the estuary is such an awesome place because, OB Dog Beach, that is, I believe it's the first off-leash dog beach in the country.
Really?
So, it is. Exactly. And so
I've lived here for a long time.
The balance and the juxtaposition of an off-leash dog beach and a pristine environment, such as the estuary and the dunes there, it's a balance. And, it's not something that I think we fight tooth and nail over, and it's a disagreement. It really does seem to be an awesome symbiotic relationship of people kind of doing their best and kind of cleaning up after themselves, and then the people that kind of really know their plant knowledge are able to go down there and pull the invasive plants and leave everything else that's, anyone else would think, it's a bunch of weeds over here. But no, you don't realize that's incredibly rare, and everything over there is incredibly invasive. So
So is there one particular plant that you're speaking of that is super invasive? Something we see every day? I'd be that novice. It's like
one of my favorite facts has to do more with the birds.
Okay.
So how many different types of birds do you think there are between the estuary and the 5 freeway?
I know there's a lot of herons.
Yeah.
I do know there's a lot of herons and seagulls, and then maybe some pigeon. I don't know if the pigeons hang out down there, but there's
definitely
pigeons and stuff. 10, 15 maybe?
Over 150.
Are you kidding me?
Over 150. So I believe that 150 was, that was 15 years ago. We were at 150. So, it's just a glimpse of the amount of biodiversity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we've got, various pelicans out there. And
pelicans,
some of them have 8-foot wingspans. They're huge, and it's great to go. And so we've got some volunteers that are very passionate about birds. And so they're able to they do tracking. And so during nesting season, they're able to kind of make sure that any projects are kind of avoiding the nests. And, after nesting season still, we kind of go out and go do projects and make sure that, we aren't impacting the environment in any negative way.
That's amazing.
And so right now, we're looking to kind of get some more gardening out there. So there's invasive plants that do need to be removed out there. I'm not the expert field biologist, but I've got a team of 6 people that are very well qualified to kind of help lead. And so we're kind of trained with diagrams and say, hey, these are the ones we can hand pull. These are the ones we need to lead. And so right now during seeding time, when all these plants are coming to seed, it's really important to get them now before they kind of bloom and become a huge problem.
They spread.
Exactly.
I know the weeds in my yard. You pick them and then the seeds just spread everywhere, and you're like, I gotta go pick again.
And so imagine that with the scale of a 52-mile river.
And the wind that happens there, the breeze just carries all those seeds. Oh my goodness, what a mess.
Exactly. And so it's really great that...
I appreciate your efforts in.
That's
a big effort.
That, the river starts all the way up in Julian. It's 52 miles away, but it ends here. So really a lot of what we do is relative, even though it's not here, to this area, because everything is going to flow out through here. So the first mile and a half of the river is kind of a salt brine marsh. So there's also the flow from the ocean does come in with the tide.
With the tide,
but that does, beyond that, it's a lot of, things that can accumulate along the river. So, the more we can get out now, the better.
Definitely. So at the Headwaters, what is your biggest sorry, we're going to have an OB pause here.
OB pause, the Point Loma pause, exactly.
OB Point Loma, whatever you want to call it. It's the flight path. If you live in Ocean Beach or Point Loma, you know. So what are the biggest challenges you guys are facing right now with from the Headwaters down? Maybe we can do sections, whatever you know about. What's the challenge at the Headwaters currently?
I don't spend enough time in the Headwaters, unfortunately. I really wish I did. It's such an awesome opportunity because it really is the pristine land that we all kind of dream of in terms of, where a river would start. And so we've got some awesome projects out there in terms of, we've got a lot of critter cams out there. We've got a handful of critter cams. And we can really track the biodiversity. So not only can we track them with these cameras, but we do bioassessments. So we'll send teams of volunteers up there and they'll spend all day hiking and basically try to track just as many animals and everything from bugs to, hopefully not mountain lions, but, there's mountain lions out there that we don't want to see, but they're out there. And so, it's really, we want to make sure that these kind of tokens of, a good sign of what biodiversity is, around. And so I would say really the biggest issue is just kind of the distance. It's a couple hours away. Yeah. And so for a lot of volunteers, that's, just a little too far. Just a little too far.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a contingent of people up in that area.
And we do. We really do.
They really care about that.
Yeah, exactly.
And love taking care of that area.
Exactly. And so I think the big thing is out there is the balance of wanting to get people connected out there and engaged without changing the kind of pristine environment that's out there.
Right, exactly. Keeping it nature.
Yeah. So a lot of the time with a lot of our events, we'll want 100. We wish we could have 100 people or 200 or 300 people out there, but realistically, for the sake of the location, it's probably better having more like 30.
Sure.
Something like that.
Sure. And that's a pretty big number out there.
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
So as we come down, we move through, I think the biggest point I can think of when I think about the San Diego River is really like Mission Valley area.
Exactly.
So because of the flooding that happens every so often when we have some crazy rains, but just also because there's bridges that go over it and you can kind of see, and there's like a pathway. And I know this isn't your specific spot, but we'll just get into this for a second. From what Rob said, there's a new park that's going in. And I think I'm really excited about this because it's like such a Mission Valley is kind of I don't want to say a transient, but kind of a transient area where people don't, there's not much of a community. I mean, Savita has definitely become a community, but I think this park is really going to bring people together there.
Yeah. Just like, any green space. It's an awesome opportunity to connect the environment and in the local community. And so this upcoming River Center at Grant Park, it's going to be at the intersection of Camino del Rio North and Falcom Way. And that is, I think there's roughly 50,000 children in the local communities that could be impacted by this project. And so the way that I really like to kind of contextualize it is, I don't know if you spend any time at Mission Trails.
Yep.
But if the visitor center there, what would that area be like? What would the regional park there be like without the visitor center? It'd be trails and mountains.
Yeah.
So really this center that we're creating is going to be the opportunity to have just a place, an awesome educational space for young people and people of all ages to kind of connect with the river. So it'll be, interpretation and educational pieces. And
I just love that because I've enjoyed going out to the visitor center and seeing what Mission Trails is about because before I moved to San Diego, I wasn't familiar with it. So definitely really awesome. Can't wait for it. When is that supposed to be come into fruition?
Construction. So I don't have a deadline. I don't have a due date.
I won't put you on the spot.
It's every time I drive by and every time I'm there at the site, it's changing. So we're putting in a cantilever sidewalk right now. And so then the electrical is going to go in and then irrigation's going to go in and then we can start planting. They're going to put a line of trees along the sidewalk.
Awesome.
So what's really great is that regardless of kind of how long the building itself may take, we're kind of planning it and building it in a way that the space is going to be usable sooner than later. So we're going to have the park and the parking lot done. And so we're going to be able to have events there soon. And while the construction continues during the week, we can do things during the weekend.
Yeah, you put up tents and do events. It's perfect.
Exactly.
I love it.
And so we've got a lot of projects out there. We've kind of got a team eco that kind of goes out there and they do a lot of the projects around the site and kind of help manage the plants, whether the native plants or the invasive plants, and clean about trash and the occasional graffiti and things like that. And just kind of leave the area pristine for the construction workers to kind of finish up the work.
Oh, that's so amazing. So as we move back towards the beach, we talk about, and this is something that's really, even for me, I know it's there, but I never really think about it, is the native plant garden. And I know you're overseeing that too. Tell us a little bit about the native plant garden.
Well, just like kind of with the estuary and the river mouth, it's just an area that it has a lot of connection with the history here and the community here. So that area was, I believe, posed for development in the 70s.
Yep.
And the local community kind of resisted and kind of wanted that hillside to kind of remain as a garden. And so they eventually kind of won. And, basically, I believe in like the late 70s, the trails were kind of implemented and it's been a space ever since. And so it's city owned, it's city property. But we manage it. We help manage it for everybody.
So for those of the people that don't know, can you tell us where it's at, where it's located?
Sure, absolutely. So it doesn't have an exact address because it's it's kind of a green space, but it's
square.
Directly next to it is 444 Green Street, green with an E at the end. Yeah. It's kind of at the top here of Point Loma, very close to kind of Newport Beach, where we are, Newport Avenue.
Newport Avenue.
Newport Avenue, where we are right now.
Yeah.
And just up the street.
North end of town.
And it's open 24/7 to the public. Yep. And it's a great place to be. We've just recently in the past few months, we've planted 300 new native plants there.
I'm going to have to go by.
Yeah, exactly. So every time you go there, it's just getting better and better and better. We've got a handful of gardeners there that they're there like almost every day, and they're so passionate about the place. They all live in the area, and it's just like their extended backyard, like we kind of intend.
Well, the lots are a little bit small down here, so it's nice to have that extended backyard.
So productivity and kind of help get a lay of a little bit better.
So one other thing, and this is unfortunately something that's negatively impacting the river, is there's been a lot of camping along the river. And I know you guys have done some outreach to try to clean that up too.
Absolutely. And I think that is also kind of one of the things that have really hit home with me the most, and something I'm the most passionate about.
Sure.
So we do a lot with outreach services. So there's an organization assisting the homeless.
Yep.
They're incredible. So we work with a few of their staff that help monitor the river with us and kind of give services to people out there. Because, our stance is for the folks, our unhoused neighbors that are down there, we're not there to punish them, and we're not there to throw anyone's things away. That's the last thing we want to do, is throw anything away that belongs to anybody. So we work very hard to kind of track the trash, and so a lot of it we clean up is kind of stuff that's been left behind.
Yeah.
But in the reality, grand scheme of things, a lot of it does come from, these unhoused neighborhood encampments that are kind of here. And so we work with the city of San Diego as well, the San Diego Regional Task Force on Homelessness. They do a ton. So we do, we help them, they help us, and we help do like surveys and things like that, where we'll not only try to acquire data of how many people are down there, but every once in a while we'll do like a census where we'll really survey and interview every person we find, and we'll ask them, the kind of sensitive questions of, or do you feel like there's something that's preventing you from finding a job? Is there a certain instance that it kind of led you to homelessness? How long have you been homeless? And it's those questions and those answers that we've heard that kind of hit home with me, and kind of realized that, we're here for the environment, we're here for the community, but there's a lot of people down there that are really disenfranchised and really need a lot of support. And so it's really able to be down there and kind of give people the support they need.
Receptive to the
Very
support?
much so. My experience can't speak for everybody, for sure, but I've quite frankly had nothing but positive experiences with everybody I've met.
That's great. That's really good to hear.
We do a lot for them, and a lot of the time they kind of recognize the situation, and no one, a lot of the time no one wants to pollute. There are the few bad seeds elsewhere, and we see dumping sites where people drive up and dump the trash. So it's not just the people down there. It's it's a mindset. It's a troubled mindset,
it's definitely a mindset, for sure.
That's what's so great. Is kind of what we do, is just connecting people and getting people to care.
And you educate.
I've been working with the River Park Foundation for about a year. I did a 3-month internship before that, and prior to that, didn't really know about it. So 2 years ago, if you asked me about the San Diego River Park, I wouldn't have had a whole lot of information or passion about it. And look where I am now. I'm out there making a difference. We're doing murals and gardens and cleanups and science and helping people. So
I truly appreciate it, because it's groups like yours that really make a difference for our community and keeping it clean, keeping it safe for people to go, and just making San Diego more beautiful.
Exactly.
So, good job.
Yeah, that's our whole focus, is just, connecting the river and the community, making the river a better place, a healthier place, a safer place for everybody.
So one thing I got to ask, and this might be just a very silly question.
Okay.
But I always thought about it, because I was like, it'd be so much fun to kayak down the river.
Yep.
It's protected, right?
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure.
So there are a handful of islands along the river in Mission Valley.
It's so cool to see like all the little things.
But they're all off limits. So we do cleanups every once in a while. We work like with the city, and they will bring like the city of San Diego lifeguards out there in a boat, and very by the book and safe, and we'll get out there and pick up trash as needed. But it's something we don't do very often. But good question. Yeah, I know.
Understandable, but I just was like, it'd be so much fun to just come down to the coast.
We do offer one opportunity.
Really?
Once a year, we do offer a kayak cleanup. So it kind of depends on different areas of the river. Sometimes you do it at the kind of not in the estuary, but just east
up there
of the estuary. Yeah, and so we'll get with again with all the lifeguard supervision and care will and permits. We have permits, so we can only have so many boats on the water at once. And we'll get like 10 or 15 rented kayaks and a bunch of volunteers with pickers with some pool noodles taped to them. And
might be my chance.
I think that'll be your chance. Okay, and so I think we're going to be planning one out in Santee, out at Walker Preserve. And so here in the city of San Diego, we'll probably be doing one maybe at the end of this year or early next year.
Okay. Well, keep me in mind.
Yeah.
I love volunteering for stuff, and this is just my one opportunity to float down the river a little bit.
Absolutely. And it's so great to get to connect with so many different people.
Oh, yeah.
Whether people that have been born and raised, and one of our volunteers is like a 5th generation Californian, that's kind of even hard to process. Like, you've been here for a while. Your family's been here for a long time. Yeah, I know. to people that have moved here a couple months ago and happened to see what we were doing, changed their clothes, and joined us that day. I mean, we've got that kind of balance.
The amount of passion in our communities here in San Diego is just overwhelming. And so, I mean, I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
And so,
So I really just want to give like a big shout out to our volunteers, a lot of our community cleanups, which we call our clean and green. So the next one will be July 5th, our morning after mess.
Okay.
So that'll be the day. Yeah, the day after the 4th of July. It'll be Tuesday morning. We'll be here at the estuary doing a big cleanup.
We're gonna need it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna need it. We got busy times at the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with dog beach.
But these larger community, like family-friendly cleanups that we offer. I mean, they'll be ages 3 to 83. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. One of our core volunteers is 83 years old and is just, he's out there like twice a week. He brings his waders and he gets out there and he's picking things up. And
I love it.
And just making a difference.
Oh, yeah. And this is such an easy way for somebody to get involved and make a difference.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. And so even whether even if you don't want to put on waders and you don't want to get in the river and don't want to pull out shopping carts and things like that. And, we've got a million other opportunities. So we've got, you could donate. We've got different projects that are always need for either funds or just the kind of tools needed.
Yeah.
So if you've got, or if you've got a certain set of skills, if you think, hey, I know a lot about birds, and I would love to share my knowledge and passion with others.
Yeah.
Come email us, and we would love to get you connected and kind of get some events going. Because that's also kind of what I do is kind of coordinate events and kind of make these more engagement events where it's not necessarily as work focused.
Right.
It's more of entertainment / connection, engagement. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you or get a hold of the San Diego River Park Foundation online, what's the best place to start?
SanDiegoRiver.org.
SanDiegoRiver.org.
Yep.
You guys got that.
Yeah. And so that's where you can donate there. You can look at all of our different programs, internship, job opportunities.
Awesome.
We have a new event website at sandiegoriver.galaxydigital.com. You'll find a link to that on our website.
Perfect.
And that is where it's kind of a portal to take you. You can make an account with us and you sign like a digital waiver, and then you can sign up for all the events you want.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Shane. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
I would just love to see you and your friends. And, it's the last cleanup we had, I said, who's here for your first time? And like 3/4 of them raised their hands. And so it's an awesome balance of the people that are there twice a week and people that are just spreading the word, their friends and family, their coworkers and things like that. So we're just trying to extend the table of discussion and effort and connection.
Yeah, I love it. You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
So thanks for coming by today.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to get up and actually switch off the video this time because my assistant left.